Roll. I call in this to order. Okay. I will call the meeting of the McHenry County Enterprise Zone, August 20th to order. Roll call. Kathy, can you do that first, please?
All right, so I'm gonna go by what she's got on her list.
Okay.
Kathleen Tracy, Larry Smith,
Here.
Mark Stricker, Brian Sauger, Jessica Erickson,
Here.
Derek Moorfield,
Here.
John Kozel.
And it'll be Profit now, but I'm the representative from Marengo.
Okay. And now Mayor Kelly?
Yes. Here.
Okay, so that's it for who she has for roll call. Is that correct?
That's correct. Is that me? Or is that me? Oops. Just a second, sorry about that. I gotta get that out of your phone, kid. just hold up in the meeting for a second, come on. I got some logistics problems. My daughter's moving from Montreal to Las Vegas, and her living nanny is back in Portugal getting residency again. So, and I forgot about this meeting this morning, so I got the grandson with me for a couple of weeks. That was his mother calling, so it's important. Otherwise, he has an issue with not being able to talk to her for a day. Okay, new business. Oh, public comment, I'm sorry. Anybody from the public? I just kicked him out.
You just kicked him out.
You get a member of the public calling in there.
Okay, on to new business.
Larry, we need to approve the minutes.
Oh, I'm sorry, Kathy. Thank you for reminding me. Could I get a motion to approve the minutes for the April 28th, 2025 meeting?
So moved.
Moved by Jessica, seconded by Derek. Any comments or questions regarding the minutes? No, we'll go, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Minutes are approved. Okay, now we can move on to new business, 4.1. Resolution to appoint and vote on a new chairman of the McHenry County Enterprise Zone. Okay, open for discussion. I think before we worry about appointing someone, we can have a little discussion on it up front. I'm a little bit confused about who's supposed to be here and who's not here right now. So, Mayor Kelly, you're here, but you're not going to be the long-term.
No,
So.
Our economic development director is vacant at the moment, so
Okay.
when we have a new designated department head, he or she will end up being the designated appointee.
Okay. And remind me about what we talked about at the last meeting as far as we're going to make you chairman?
I'm not on the board.
Okay.
So I'll just provide some background and kind of who is representing whom from where. So Donovan Day, since our last meeting, who was the community development manager from Harvard, has resigned his position, relocated to Tennessee. Congratulations to him. So that leaves that seat, which would normally sit on the Enterprise Zone Board on behalf of Harvard, vacant. Deb Bijot is generously here today. She is the finance director at the City of Harvard, and also sitting in the interim chair seat. And then Jessica is sitting vice chair for the Enterprise Zone and economic development director at City of Woodstock, and that will be your permanent position. And then Derek is the city manager at City of Marengo, representing Marengo on the Enterprise Zone Board. He's currently in the secretary position. So we've got 3 resolutions on the agenda to recalibrate that, as we do have someone in an interim role. I might suggest discussion about maybe kind of looking at changing the way that we identify the members from each city rather than putting named individuals in the seats. Perhaps we want to just say this position at the City of Woodstock, City of Harvard, or whatever is the representative for the Enterprise Zone Board. And then that way, if when there are changes, particularly in the city of Harvard's case, we won't have to go through this process again. That person would just slot right into the role. Pete and Alicia, correct me if I'm out of line on any of that.
Well, I don't think our resolution reads that way right now. I'm gonna slide over here so I can get an eyeball on Pete. It's okay. Our resolution doesn't read that way right now.
The resolution just has a blank in there, so you can put inside the blank, we appoint the Director of Economic Development in the City of Harvard.
Okay.
If you would like to, if that's what you would like to move to have included into the resolution.
Okay.
Or whomever you so choose.
Yeah, no, I agree. So that's a good conversation to have, Mark. Anyone want to weigh in on that? I will, I guess. If you guys aren't gonna, I'm more about the person than the position when it comes to this kind of stuff. Just because somebody else would come up from Harvard or Woodstock or wherever, I'm not sure they're particularly the person to fill the chairman's seat. So I guess I'm not ready to accept that idea. I don't know how anybody else feels about it. I don't have any idea who you guys are gonna be. It might be somebody that's brand new to your program and doesn't even want to be chairman when they get here.
Sure, of course.
So that could be a concern to me.
I can see your point because it could be a transient position, and then you really, for your chairman, you want someone who's going to be at every meeting and he has that continuity from meeting to meeting. So
Yes, yeah, right. So I think we're sort of getting a little bit, what do you guys, anything else on that?
No, my only comments was that we have a couple of potentially transient positions sitting here as representatives. I mean, not that Deb's going any place in Harvard, but it could be someone else assigned in Harvard once a position is filled. So I agree, she may or may not be here for 2 years to fill that role. And my role is right now just through April 30th in Marengo, from a contractual standpoint. So to commit to a 2-year term as a chairman, I wouldn't recommend anybody recommend me do that just because of that. I would be glad to do it, but because I may not be there after April 30th, I can't commit to that. So I would agree in the sense that it should be, if we're going to name a person, then it should be someone who, anybody can be gone at any time, but that has the potential of being here longer than a short period of time.
Okay.
this group meets quarterly?
Yes.
That's what it's set up right now, yeah.
No, interject that I am here for as long as they'll have me, so. And I also I'm relatively new to Illinois and to Woodstock. I've been here a year tomorrow, but I do have a background of administering enterprise zone in another state, so I'm very familiar with the program. And so if there was interest in me serving in that capacity, I'd be happy to.
As chairman? Yeah, okay. Well, it's fine with me. I just, I'm a little concerned we don't have a bigger group here today to do this, but what we have is what we have. So if anybody, I will nominate Jessica to be chairman. Is there a second to that?
I'll second it.
Seconded by
We
Gary?
could always nominate somebody that's not here.
That's all right.
Just kidding.
I suppose we could.
I would also be okay with that.
Shoot, that was evil. I apologize. I second it.
So, is there any other nominations? Or do we need a motion to close the nominations for that?
So moved.
So moved, seconded by
Second.
Gary. Any discussion, vote to move close the nominations? All those in favor say aye.
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 Okay, so then we'll vote on resolution number 4-1 for Jessica, let's see, how do I pronounce it? Eisen Erickson. Erickson.
Yeah.
My notes down here, so to be chairman of the enterprise zone. There should be a date on this resolution. So,
Today's date?
Today's day, Kathy, I was looking for like a term on it, and I don't see that on the resolution.
If you would like to move to have an amendment to add a term on there, you may.
Was there no term?
I'm sorry?
There's no term.
There is no term included on the resolution, but if you'd like one, for a period of years or a period of time, you may.
I think there should be, so I'll make the amendment that for 2 years, and we'll add it to the resolution. Is there a second to that?
I'll second that.
Okay, seconded by Mr. Kelly, Mayor Kelly. Any discussion regarding that? Okay, we'll go to vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, so the resolution's been amended to make it a 2-year term. Jessica Erickson is up for nomination. We'll go to vote on that. Derek?
Yes.
Deb?
Yes.
Jessica?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
And I'll vote yes. So the chairman's done, which is great, but that leaves us an opening on the vice chairman, right? So we can take care of that today. Is there any nominations for vice chairman? And I'm not going anywhere. I'm sort of in the county playing middle ball between the 3 cities, but I don't, I wouldn't mind being vice chairman unless Derek wants it, that's fine too. I can fill any of those positions down the line.
I'll nominate Larry to be vice chairman.
Okay, that's fine. Anyone, is there a second to that?
Second, I'll second.
Okay, seconded by Derek. Any discussion regarding that? I think we gotta go back and, excuse me for doing this, I actually.
Is there a term in that resolution?
There is not. You can make it, if you'd like to make it 2 years, we can make it 2 years.
Yeah, I'm just pulling it up here. Like I said, this wasn't on my calendar and I'm a little unprepared this morning, I apologize. I personally think that should have a term on it too, so.
Well, I would move to revise the resolution for vice chairman to have a 2-year term.
Okay, and I'll second that. Any discussion? Okay, we'll go to vote on that amendment. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, so that'll be a 2-year term also. And I am the one nominated. Are there any other nominations for this position? This is sort of a formality, huh? So we'll have a motion to close the nominations.
So moved.
And I'll second that. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, we're ready to vote on the vice chair, and Larry Smith has been nominated. Any further discussion on that, or we'll go to vote? Mike?
No discussion, yes.
Deb?
Yes.
Jessica?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes.
And I'll vote yes. So we'll move on to the 4-3, the secretary. Once again, I suspect that does not have a term on it, so
Well,
maybe.
Derek's in that position now, so unless he had moved to vice or something, we would need to.
Okay, so we don't have to, that's
Not-
filled and it's,
Not required unless he.
okay.
Does someone resign?
Okay,
I won't do that.
that's good. We can worry about a term limit at another time, I guess.
Yeah.
Unless there's any other discussion we need to have on that, Alyssa, or no, or?
I don't think so. I mean, if you would like to have him reappointed, fine, or you could just table that motion either way because he's already the secretary, however you want to do
Okay.
it.
Or we can keep him on there and have him reappointed and add a term to his resolution as well.
But that's what I was
How about
thinking.
this? I'll make a motion to reappoint Derek to secretary for a 2-year term.
Is that administratively correct to be able to do that?
Or does it need to be 2 separate motions?
Staying consistent with the others, we need to have 2 motions.
The reason why there wasn't a term on there is technically under the, under the ordinances and rules and whatnot, that it's, it's every year they appoint, but again, things have been so in flux over the years that, there's been so many motions. So again, I mean, if you guys decide as a group that you would like to have, more consistency, I don't see why that would be in
I
conflict.
think consistency.
It is
would
just
be
a
good.
term that you guys wish to.
So I'll amend my motion to reappoint Derek as secretary for the enterprise.
Okay. Is there any second to that?
Second.
Seconded by Jessica. Any discussion? We'll go to vote on that. Derek?
Yes.
Jessica?
Yes.
Deb?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
And I'll vote yes. Okay, are we gonna amend and put a term to it, or do that when it comes up at the next time?
Move to set the term limit for the secretary at 2 years.
Okay, then I'll second that. Any discussion regarding that? Seeing no discussion, we'll go to vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Okay. Did I administratively get through that correct? Do you think? Good. Is there any other, I'm just gonna open the floor up. We got through this, everybody okay with it, or somebody got something they want to say more about it? Okay, we're ready to move on then? Okay, good. Financial update, number 5.
Okay, so looking at the profit and loss statement first, the annual partner contribution has been invoiced. We've seen them come in according to budget. Project fees, as you can see, we are about $1,800 higher than budgeted for the last quarter ending July 31st, 2025. And that's about 37% of the full fiscal year budget for project fees. So we are trending higher in project fees. I'll dive into the individual projects when we get to the administrator's portion, but that about summarizes everything from the income side. On the expense side, no major expenses last quarter beyond the contractual services, which is our administrative, which is MCEDC's administrative fee, which last meeting we agreed to invoice quarterly. There are, beyond this quarter's administrative services fee, there are no major expenses anticipated in the zone. As we discussed at the last meeting, we left some room on there for legal and professional expenses. I don't foresee or anticipate any of that. We did have to reorder checks, which is going to fall under that same category. But beyond that, I don't see any major expenses coming forward, as they've mostly been absorbed into the administrator's internal budget. Any questions on the profit and loss statement? So the balance sheet, as you can see, being on an accrual basis, we see we've got $56,000 in accounts receivable. Those are the partner invoices, and we've seen a little bit of that come in. Most of that come in, about 75% of it so far, and the other checks should be on the way. Any questions on the balance sheet? Okay. Any questions for me as the administrator on any of the financial aspects? That's all I have to report on that side.
Okay, no questions? We'll move on to number 6, partner reports, starting with Harvard. Mary Kelly handling this. What's happening in Harvard?
Larry, do you have to accept the?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to accept the financial.
Okay. Seconded by Jessica. It's financial. Derek?
Yes.
Jessica?
Yes.
Deb? Mike?
Yes.
And I'll vote yes. Partner reports, Harvard.
We've got a couple of enterprise zone projects currently going on. We have a Verizon store, which is just getting ready to break ground, which is going to be built next to Walgreens. So we'll have a new standalone Verizon cellular service store in Harvard. We are also working with a manufacturer called Project GOAT, which is GOAT Partners looking to build a large facility in our industrial park. We aren't sure yet if they will utilize enterprise zone benefits for this or if they will chase a TIF district. I think from my perspective, it would be better if they use enterprise zone benefits because it's a much less arduous process. And I'm not certain that the city council has an appetite to create a TIF district specifically for only one company. So we meet with them actually tomorrow as a kickoff meeting. And I think there's at least two parcels that are inside or that would be available for enterprise benefits, or is it just one of the three?
One is outside the TIF, the other three are in the TIF.
Right, so that one parcel they might utilize for TIF benefits, for enterprise zone benefits. The other two are already in an existing TIF within that industrial park. Outside of that, I don't think we have any other active enterprise zone projects. I don't believe
Revolution
Starbucks.
Golf. Revolution Golf
Revolution
and
Golf.
Tomas.
Yes, so Revolution Golf is going to be doing a remodeling of their facility on Air Street, and then we have a developer who purchased a building that has been vacant for more than 10 years and is completely renovating it all the way down to studs. So they will be utilizing enterprise zone benefits. I don't believe Starbucks applied for me, so that's not within it.
What's going on with Starbucks?
They were held up by IDOT, but
Okay.
they just got approval last Friday to move forward, so their expectation to be open end of October.
Oh, okay. Well, my wife will be glad to hear that.
A lot of people will. I don't prefer their coffee, but a lot of people do.
Okay, that it?
That's all I have, yes.
Well, thanks. Marengo?
Well, we're start and stop in Marengo. I mean, so there's obviously been some turnover in staffing there and with the new mayor on board. So really, I'm just getting my arms around the enterprise zone potential in Marengo, working with Mark on that. Certainly the biggest opportunity for us is related to the projects along Route 23 down near the interchange at I-90. To that end, we started phase 1 of the utility extension project. There's basically 3 phases to it. Phase 1 gets it down to about Unilock, if you know where that's at, and Route 23. Phase 2 will be underway next year in 26. That'll get it to Anthony Road. And then by that point, we should have phase 3 lined up to get it the rest of the way to the interstate, either through a large user coming in or users, or working to secure funding for that. But that's where the enterprise zone will play a large role, and part of that, I'm sure, with that attraction. So obviously, we have some other areas in town that are eligible also, but I'm new to the enterprise zone world. I never dealt with them in Woodstock or McHenry, so I'm still increasing my understanding of it, and again, using Mark as a resource to be able to know how best and how how best to utilize it for our needs in Marengo.
Okay. Sounds good.
Sure.
Woodstock?
Yeah, we have a lot going on in Woodstock. Last night we approved a redevelopment agreement for Action Packaging, who's acquired the former Silgon building on Lake Avenue. It's 187,000 square feet. It's also an enterprise zone project, so it was a great partnership between us and McHenry County EDC. We have another project. Is AFA doing enterprise zone?
We have a preliminary application
Okay.
from them.
So the former Matrix 4 building on Judd Street, if you're familiar, has been acquired by a Dutch company, AFA Dispensing. Again, a combination of TIF and enterprise zone, and we'll be approving the redevelopment agreement on October 16th. And as Mark just said, preliminary approval on the enterprise zone. We also have a Dollar General just moving locations on Route 47 or off of Route 47, but that is another enterprise zone project that we have in the pipeline. I'll also mention that the former Lake Marine site at just south of 14 on 47 is under contract, a portion of it for Goodwill store, and then an outlot, Bell Tire. And then the remainder will be storage. They'll likely be coming forward for enterprise zone benefits at some point. And then just, I'm sure you all are aware, but the Route 47 project, the expansion project, the contract has been awarded, and we expect hard construction to start around April 1st of next year. And so hopefully that will help to drive some new investment and revitalization of that commercial corridor, which will benefit from the enterprise zone as well.
Okay, thank you.
So Jessica,
Go ahead, Peter.
the Lake Marine building, it's going to be divided into 2 or 3?
So there's 2 buildings. There's a larger building to the north, it's about 44,000 square feet, and then a smaller building to the south, I think about half the size. And then there's kind of L-shaped of outbuildings on the west corner. And so the large north building, about half of that will become Goodwill, just over 20,000 square feet. The remainder will be reserved for the storage company, who will put climate controlled storage in there, as well as their kind of office retail space. And then the south building, as well as the L-shaped building, will be storage. And then the Bell Tire will be a new building in the parking lot in front of what is currently the parking lot in front of that smaller building.
Okay.
Can't wait to see the Route 47 access to Bell Tire.
I know.
Okay, we'll move on to number 7, Administrator's Report.
Okay.
Mark, you got some stuff for us?
I do. Mostly what everyone has already shared, but I'll share it sort of in the context of the enterprise zone and the processing through the administrative aspects of the zone for these projects. On the closing side, we have closing reports out to Greenway Storage in Harvard, Lum Car Wash in Harvard, and Rush Creek, which completed the construction in the zone at the end of last year. So we should have those projects closed and done with, hopefully by the end of this month. The projects that were opened, I believe most of them were already mentioned. The dollar store in Woodstock on Seminary Avenue, the renovation of the former Silgan building on Lake Avenue there, and then in Harvard, we have the Verizon store, and the Harvard downtown project is what it's called. That's a renovation, then Revolution Golf renovation. For context, the financial investment or impact with those projects is $2.82 million, and those projects combined will have an impact of 78 net new full-time equivalent jobs in McHenry County. In terms of pipeline and the way that I identify pipeline, a project that is in the enterprise zone pipeline is someone who's applied but not yet paid the processing fee or has an application that we're working on together. So the only one I have in the pipeline right now is the AFA manufacturing, which is, again, in a TIF district, so all they'll be eligible to leverage is the building material exemption on that project. So that is, the closing open projects and the pipeline for the zone. Regarding, as we kind of established, there's been a number of changes, so I'll just real briefly touch changes in personnel. So I'll just really briefly touch on enterprise zone process, and I'll encourage you, those of you in municipal seats, if there is a change that you'd like to make in this process, I'm more than willing. I'm happy to adapt that. But what we do currently is, we bring the project in, whether that's something we develop or you develop, and then introduce them to us, and we'll work with them on the application process. Once the application is submitted, we allow them the opportunity to be issued a preliminary application prior to them paying their fee. On some of these smaller projects, the fee is like $250. That's the minimum fee that somebody would pay. That's not as big of a deal, but I want to be cognizant when we do have projects that are in the tens of thousands of dollars up to the maximum project fee of $50,000, that if they need to make sure they have the proper easement or approvals on things, we don't want to necessarily process their fee and then have to refund it if something goes wrong. So the way that we do it is we take their application, verify the approval with the Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity. I email the project lead and I copy you guys. Some of you have given me someone in your planning and zoning department to include on that. I'm more than happy to do that. Just say, hey, make sure you always email XYZ person as well. But that's how we establish the preliminary approval, and that's intended to be the trigger that offers the reduction in permitting fees for your project. Now, some of you in the IGA have stipulations regarding what the project requirements are to receive that reduced permitting. I will make sure to identify that to the participant and you in that case. So if it's not eligible for reduced permitting, I'll identify that in the email. Otherwise, I'll say, hey, you have a preliminary approval. You are now eligible for permit fee reduction. Go forward, and then I also include the invoice for their fee. Once they get rolling and take care of their easement or negotiations with IDOT or what have you, they can pay that fee, and that's when we issue the BMAC, or the building material exemption certificate. And it's at that time that they can go out and have the sales tax reduction on any of the building materials. All reporting to the assessor's office regarding the tax abatement, that's pretty far down the line. Alex and I communicate sort of in a lump sum thing in about May. I identify all of the projects. He goes through and verifies whether the project is eligible for abatement, and then we'll individually discuss with the project lead on that. Hey, here's sort of the facts on what abatement would look like. Is there a true-up period where we want to kick it down the road a year to take full advantage of the benefits or not? And so Alex and his team and I will communicate with the project on that. Any questions about that process or any changes that you'd like to bring forward at this time? Because again, I want it to be as easy for you at the city and your staff as I can possibly make it. It's not hard for me to update it.
I think it's perfectly fine.
Okay. So last time we were here together, I did kind of share a little bit of data on the zone itself and the zone's productivity in terms of capital investment and new jobs. I'm always happy to share that either with you so you can share it with your respective councils. I'm also happy to come to a council meeting, talk a little bit about what the opportunity zone represents, where it is. A question that I often get asked is, can we and how do we go about increasing the enterprise zone or adopting more parcels into the zone? And that's a question that I can answer on a case-by-case basis. The one thing that we want to be cognizant of is that there is a maximum amount of parcels that can be in the zone. And in our case, because we have 4 units of government, meaning Harvard, Woodstock, Marengo, as well as the county, we have the maximum zone size of 20 square miles. I've asked GIS to share the exact number right now, but prior to the most recent Marengo edition, we had like 9.2 miles in the zone. And I know that Marengo, what we added in Marengo is not, not 11 miles, so 11 square miles. So we do have a little bit of headroom there, but obviously that's something that if we did want to incorporate more parcels into the zone, it would have to come to this board first, and then us as the administrator would have to do the data, working with NIU to identify whether it qualifies based on median income in that particular area, report that to DCEO. DCEO has a 90-day review process, and that's when they would follow up with us and identify that whether it's approved or not. So In terms of it, you know, a potential expansion, it will be like a 90 to 120 day process if we were to do that. And that's something that you can share with your councils when they're asked. I have kind of looked around the county and discussed with other representatives, other municipalities, whether or not there's eligibility, and there really is not. What is in the zone currently, because of the nature of it having to be contiguous, there isn't a lot of opportunity to expand the existing zone.
You said the current amounts in the zone is?
I don't know the exact with Marengo's recent addition. Prior to Marengo's recent addition was 9.2. So once GIS can share that with me, I'll be able to share what the current status is. Additionally, so that kind of puts things together for the project report. I do want to share with you guys the updates that we did on the website. The board approved a sort of retouch of the website, and that has since been completed. Kristen and I have been working to kind of modernize the website and make it a little bit more user-friendly and accessible. There's a couple of things that I want to point out on the site for your benefit, and for if you're sharing with someone. I think this is important for zone board members to know, and this is something I can go more in depth on if we do meet with your council or your planning and zoning department or community meeting. But this is the landing page, which has been updated. Probably the most important thing is the accessibility to view the GIS map here. So if you want to share with somebody whether or not their parcel is in the zone, you can just pop this up and really quickly zoom into wherever it is. Sorry, a little touchy on the computer there. And we had GIS incorporate existing TIFs as well. So you can turn that on and off with this button. So this layer can show the TIFs. So like it's hard to see with Woodstock because their TIFs are pink as well. But if we look at Harvard, that yellow portion in Harvard right there is that TIF, and the pink portion is the enterprise zone. We can also overlay the existing opportunity zone as well. It takes a second to show up, but that pink portion is existing opportunity zone in McHenry County. So this is a really helpful tool, and I think it's very versatile in terms of explaining the zone and its boundaries and identifying that. So if you haven't, you can also click on zoning. You can also change it to a layer that or a different base map to show what the actual topography is there. Another quick thing that I want to make is that Kristen has developed a really nice video that I'll spare you of going through right now, but it's only about 2 minutes, and it works as a great explainer, just a generalized overview of the zone and the zone benefits. Really handy to send that link to somebody, and that's embedded into our website. And she did the voiceover for it, which is fantastic because she has a very nice sort of newscaster voice rather than my nasally Girl Scout with a cold voice. Beyond that, sort of the piece de la resistance of the Enterprise Zone website is that we now have a virtual app where somebody who's starting a project can put everything in online rather than paper. We can still do paper, there's no problem with that. And I have both a fillable form that you can fill out on your computer, or we can hand deliver the paper form. Doesn't matter, but I wanted it to be as easy as possible, so they can complete the entire application online. Most of the stuff we make it easy to look up so that they don't have to navigate to Athena or something. You just click find your pin. It's identical to the paper form, and one thing that's really nice that I'll note is that you can save and resume later, so that because this is a complex application, if somebody wants to put a pin in it and come back to it down the road, they can do that, and they can just access it from their email. One area that I want to go over is that the capital costs portion, that's probably the portion that I get the most questions on. What's the difference between, you know, renovation and site improvements and so on and so forth. I've made all of the additional capital costs sections not required. So if somebody just wants to put construction labor and building materials in here, they can just do that. So, you know, if there is a roundabout estimate and they're saying, hey, we're just gonna put construction and building materials in there for now, it's you know, $100,000 each, total project cost of $200,000, they can do that rather than breaking it down. Those estimated capital investment breakdowns, those are really just for our data collection and so that we know what the capital is being invested into in McHenry County. It doesn't have any bearing on the approval or the zone or anything to that effect. So for example, if somebody has a $150,000 project, it'll automatically calculate how much they're eligible to save on building materials. They can find out what the qualifying materials are, and it'll automatically calculate the processing fee owed as well. They can pay the processing fee by credit card right there. If they're seeking only a preliminary approval, they can just click that, or they can say, we're gonna send a check in the mail, and we'll be responsible for that accounts receivable, chasing that down, signature, and so on and so forth. I'll touch on one more thing here that I feel is important. Now, the contractor that's identified on the form does not have to be the project coordinator. They can add as many additional contractors as they want to the project. So if they have, you know, if there's a general contractor and each contractor, including plumbing, electrician, earth moving, so on and so forth, that they all have a sales tax liability that they want discounted, that they're eligible to do so. So you can go back and add individual contractors without having to submit a new application entirely. All they need is the project ID, which they're issued when they have the preliminary approval. They just put the project ID in here and then put in their name and the new contractor information. That'll come directly to me, and as soon as we get that, there's no additional charge for additional contractors. Doesn't cost any more. If the project cost changes, it might, but in this case, they can just submit it and I can issue the BMAC. I'm usually, if it's you know, during business hours, I'll probably get it done within a few hours, typically by the end of the day. So that's a really nice advantage that we now have on our site. We're trying to build this site into something that's very self-contained and easily accessible rather than something that's complex. Any questions before I walk away from that?
I don't have any questions, but that looks pretty good.
Pretty sure. Nice and accessible. And then really briefly, I wanted to touch on opportunity zone before we go. So, you know, one thing that's important to know is that the opportunity zone doesn't, despite it being called another zone, it isn't related to the enterprise zone at all. As a matter of fact, it's a federal program. At present, we have one opportunity zone in McHenry County, and those opportunity zones are identified by census district. The opportunity zone differs from the enterprise zone in that it is a investment incentive or benefit, whereas, you know, enterprise zone is a construction benefit, new development benefit. That's true. We want to invest, and that person must have a capital gain from that prior year to invest into a qualified opportunity fund or qualified opportunity zone business, right? The reason that I bring up the opportunity zone, and I'm happy to go into more detail on what benefits they receive, but generally it is a deferral of capital gains. The reason that I bring it up is that the recently passed federal legislation has some changes to the opportunity zone, and it's going to give us the opportunity to designate the existing zone and potentially expand it if we're eligible. So the existing zone expires, or the, you know, sort of the expiration date on it is December 31st, 2026. And that's always been the case. The original program, which was established in 2017, was intended to be a 10-year program. This new legislation is going to make that a permanent part of the tax code, so this will continue on indefinitely, but it does not guarantee existing zones will be redesignated. Despite being a federal program, that is a gubernatorial decision. So the governor of the state of Illinois, or the governor's office, is ultimately who will make the decision whether existing zones get redesignated and the opportunity for expanded zones would get designated in the first place. So, you know, from my perspective at the McHenry County EDC, as well as Enterprise Zone Administrator, I think we have a real opportunity, and I think it's important to bring up to this board because, as we've identified, the reason that the enterprise zone is eligible in your municipalities is that you meet those criteria, and those criteria won't be drastically different for the opportunity zone. So I think it would behoove us to explore this collaboratively, and I don't think we need to do that in this forum. I think we can all do it separately and then bring a report back to this group. But I think it would be smart for us to say, hey, how can we potentially leverage this benefit that could attract patient investment dollars to our municipalities and to the county as a whole. So I'm just kind of bringing that up to say that we have this redesignation window and potential expansion window that I think it would benefit all of us to explore a little bit more. We don't know what the actual criteria is going to be because we don't know the data set that the Treasury is going to select for the designations, right? The most recent one, it's still connected to the data from 2017. So whether they say it's 2025 data or 2026 data, that's really sort of the unknown there to determine how we can select that. Now, things may not change drastically in a given municipality, so we can make some pretty educated guesses as we do this research. So the EDC is going to work towards sort of forming an advocacy and advisory group for opportunity zones. And like I say, you know, the participants in the Enterprise Zone Board are welcome to be collaborative with us, and we want to have your voice as a part of that. So any questions on that? I just wanted to bring it forward so that we can all start kind of considering it.
Do you know what the timing is?
Oh, timing. So the redesignation, as we said, the sort of cliff for the existing zone is 2026. Redesignation will be up throughout 2027, and then it'll happen in 2028. That should not deter capital investment or investment of capital gains in that time period, because anybody who invests after July of 2025 before the 2026 changeover will still get a 5-year rolling basis capital gains deferral.
Will the governor's office be looking to the local EDCs to nominate census tracts?
I think so, yeah.
Before?
Yeah, I would expect them to to be reaching out as we get closer to that date, but I think that now is the time to be proactive about it.
Yeah, I just didn't know what the process was here.
And I think they would reach out to individual municipalities as well.
Is there any anticipation that the zones would be diminished?
I can't say. If something changed drastically in the zone, I think it's possible, but I really don't know.
Well, the current zone, I don't see that there's any real drastic changes, and certainly I'm happy to hear this because while we have had some investment in the opportunity zone, it's not been significant, and so I think extending those benefits would be great, and if we could expand that zone to more parts of McHenry County, that would certainly be a huge benefit. So.
Yeah, I agree, and I think we can work collaboratively with this group and expanded groups to be more proactive about attracting investment into the opportunity zone rather than, because there is a whole existing national infrastructure of qualified opportunity funds that seek out investment opportunities across the country. And these investments that they make are anything from commercial industrial development, redevelopment, and rehabilitation. It extends to residential. You can even invest into individual businesses. So if there's an existing business that's looking at succession or a transition, someone's going to sell their business, the capital that the buyer uses could leverage a qualified opportunity fund. Now, they can individually establish their own qualified opportunity fund. If somebody has a capital gain and says, I want to invest in this in the opportunity zone, they can be their own fund. But you can also leverage this existing infrastructure if it's a desirable enough project, right? And I think we do well to bring more of those investors, or those funds to the table to say, this is what we have going on, this is what we want to promote.
Okay. That's great.
The big thing was, the community investment perspective. McHenry County, do one, no?
Not that I know of, it wasn't part of establishing the initial zone.
Okay, well, as I was unprepared, because I didn't have this on my calendar and sort of muddled my way through the meeting, I should have turned it over to Jessica immediately.
Oh, shoot, yeah, I didn't think of anything.
I was like, it does say immediately there, so I leave you with calling for an adjournment.
Yeah, if there's no other business, I'll call for adjournment.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All those